Good morning, everyone. It is the top of the hour. So, welcome to Unity of Tacoma. I'm so glad that you decided to join us today. It's so nice to see you on a wonderful sunny Sunday morning, whether you're here now in person or if you're joining us online or if you're joining us later in the week. We're so glad that you decided to join us no matter what time of week or what time of day. We are here for you. We have hundreds of videos online that you can check out at all the previous talks that we've had. And so, whatever you need, it should be there for you. So, we're here for you no matter what time you need us. So, for those of you that are here this morning, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. We stand on the beginning of August. It's very prominent. I don't know about you, but this year has just flown by. I feel like I've lost days. But we are on what I believe is a sacred threshold. So we have just, and those of you who don't have this special calendar, we just had Lunasa, which is a Celtic festival, which marks the first of the harvest. And so Lunasa is on the wheel of the year, and I'm going to show you here in just a minute what that looks like. But our modern calendars are not going to have it on there. It's going to be on the wheel of the year calendar. And what the wheel of the year is more attuned to the cycles of the earth. So it's not just necessarily, it starts at this time and ends at this time. It is about the wonderful wildness of the circle of life. And so it's wonderful, and I love that calendar. And if you have one, you turn it, and you turn it when it changes. So I just changed that. That was August 1st. So it is the beginning of the harvest season. And it really allows us a time to pause and to reflect and to give thanks for all the things that we do have. It's kind of another time of the year to give thanks to what is and to begin to reap what we have sown previously in the year. So you know that many of us have set goals or we played plans or things like that. And now it's time to take a look to see where we are with that. How are we? How are our plants growing? The seeds that we've planted, how are they prospering? Are they? Let's take a look at them. So before we go into that though, I would like to talk a little bit first about our announcements. And so I'm going to transfer it over to Victoria to do that. And then we'll go into the prayer for protection.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity of Tacoma, and we're so glad to have you here. Um, I am right with Lori on that. It seems like this year is just flying by, and I have no idea where the spring and the summer have gone, and I so much so that as I'm driving around, I'm surprised that the apple trees are all full of apples that are starting to fall off. I mean, it just seems like it's way too early. But apparently I'm a little behind. At any rate, we did sandwich day yesterday, making sandwiches for Tacoma's Unhomed, making 100 sack lunches. We did really well. We were few in numbers because there's so much going on in the summer with vacations and everything. But we are mighty and we do persevere, and we got it done in the hour. And thank goodness for those who showed up. And we always have so much fun. I would have never thought that making peanut butter and jelly sandwich and meat and cheese sandwiches could be so fun. But there's lots of laughter and lots of love going in those sack lunches. So our schedule normally is going to be is the first Saturday of the month is Sandwich Day. However, in September, we're going to change that. And so it's going to be the second Saturday in September. That would be the 13th of September is going to be our next sandwich making day. With the schedules for the building and how it's all going to fit together, that's what's going to work for September. So I'm letting you know early, and I will keep reminding you. And the more volunteers we have, the more we can do. and we're looking for volunteers for helping to make our sack lunches. Also, we are collecting donations of clothing and personal items. We've even donated tents and blankets and stuff as the time gets colder outside. So we do those and any personal items, packages of toothpaste and toothbrushes and feminine products, all kinds of things. We collect those. And we're doing that in conjunction with Nativity House and working with Catholic Community Services as part of our distribution. So I welcome you all to come on September 13th, the second Saturday of the month in September. And after that, we'll be back to the first Saturday of the month. So September is going to be our exception. And other than that, I just want everybody to keep the message of love and kindness and helping others to be at the forefront of our minds and our actions, because what we put out is what goes out and comes back and around. And at this time in our history and the history of the world, we need to be united in love and kindness. And so that's that. I hope y'all have a good week and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, Victoria. And thank you to all of you who were able to make it yesterday and to be able to be part of this wonderful outreach program and all the work that they put in. And for you, Victoria, for all the work you put in, and Denise for doing the shopping and all of that. So thank you all for pitching in to do that.
Well,
All
and
right.
also for our benefactors who are
yes,
donating,
our sponsors and benefactors. Yep.
who have donated so that we can keep going. So the more physical help we get and the more financial support we get, the more we can do.
That's correct. Thank you. And we will accept any kind of support that we receive. Just let us know that you would like to let that go to the outreach program, and we'd be happy to add that to the funds that we have. So, all right. So let's go into our message now. Let's go into the prayer for protection. For those of you who already know the words, you can go ahead and start without them. But for those that you don't know them, they are on the screen. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So let's take just this moment to settle in, to breathe deep, and to allow that breath to be the gateway to becoming still, opening our hearts, and allowing Spirit in. During the week, we're so busy with all the things that we're doing, from doing outreach to helping others to doing our jobs and helping our families. But on Sundays and the days we set aside for spiritual practice, those are times where we can be intentional. And this is one of those times. Intentional about connecting, intentional about being. We can stop doing for just a moment and just be. Be as we are. Be as we want to be. And so in this moment, take a breath and let's say thank you. Thank you for this time to reconnect with Spirit. Thanks for this time to be able to look at all of the things that I am gifted with, the things that I have worked for, the things that are now coming to fruition. Because if we take time, we see how prosperous we really are, how blessed our lives are. And even if there is struggle and strife or illness or pain or whatever's there, we can step back a minute, step away from that experience and feel the essence of who we truly are. We are not those external things. We are the divine personified in our human forms. And so we can be grateful for that. So in this time of being, we set the intention of taking this consciousness with us throughout the service. And we know that
Hold on, be quiet for a second.
and we are so grateful. And so it is. Amen. I'd like to take a moment. I wanted to take some time. We talked about last week about this. We talked about the silence. Well, the week before last when I was here, and we talked about the silence and how much time we need a day to sit in silence. So I'd like to take some time right now. We're going to have some music, so it's not going to be completely silent, but I'd like to take a moment to just sit and become more present. And after that prayer, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on some music, and we can sit for a couple of minutes in this beauty of what we are allowed at this moment. Let's go ahead and go into that.
I don't know what's wrong.
After this moment of centering, let's say our affirmation for today together. Our affirmation: I live in the rhythm of divine abundance. I give thanks for the harvest within and around me. And I trust the journey of growth, release, and renewal. It's this time of year.
The microphone's on too.
I look at the world around me. And if you go out into my yard right now, you can see that my grass is kind of brown. I'm not a big waterer. I like to conserve water in the summer. I know that the grass will come back as soon as it starts raining, so I don't worry too much about it. I do water my plants. But when I start to look around, I start to see the things that are changing. So, for example, when you see the fruit on the trees starting to emerge, in some places you can start to see some of the maple trees turn color already. So it is time to harvest. It's time to start looking at what it is that we've planted earlier in the year and what is coming into fruition. And so another thing that really gets me excited about this time of year, because the fall is my favorite time of year, and it's not quite fall yet, but this time of year, I get excited when I'm driving down the road. And what do I see on the side, on the corner of right down the street here? There is a spirit store. So that means that the spirit store is going to be opening pretty soon. That means that Halloween is right around the corner. And I get really excited about that. So it's really a good time for me to start crafting and getting ready for the fall. And I just really love it. So to me, the fall season begins at the beginning of August, because that's when Halloween stuff gets started. So my talk today, we're going to be talking about the seasons of the year. And I want to first go through, I want to read something from John O'Donohue. For those of you who know me, I know that John O'Donohue is my favorite poet. John O'Donohue made his transition at the age of 53 in 2008. But he left this beautiful legacy of poetry from the Celtic tradition. That he wrote the book, the Anam Cara, and he wrote so many other things. But this is from his book, To Bless the Space Between Us, a book of blessings. And so this is by John O'Donohue. It's a short reading, but I thought it was appropriate for today. It reads, "Perhaps the art of harvesting the secret riches of our lives is best achieved when we place profound trust in the act of beginning. Risk might be our greatest ally. To live a truly creative life, we always need to cast a critical look at where we presently are, attempting always to discern where we have become stagnant and where new beginnings might be ripening. There can be no growth if we do not remain open and vulnerable to what is new and different. I have never seen anyone take a risk for growth that was not rewarded 1,000 times over." So in Unity, you know this, for those of you who are Unity people, and those of you who are new, I'm going to explain it to you. In Unity, we teach that we are co-creators with God, that our thoughts and our belief systems and our ideas shape our experiences on a daily basis. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Lunasa. And so I want you to see how Lunasa is spelt. It is spelled Lughnacand Asadh. Lughnasadh. And it is pronounced Lunasa. Lunasa. Now, when I first saw it, I thought it was Lughnasadh. Sounded right to me, but it is not. It is Lunasa. And Lunasa sits on the calendar. This is the wheel of the year calendar. For those of you that don't know about that, you can see up here at the top that Lunasa is in August. It begins August 1st. And you can see the rest of the seasons. You have Mabon and Samhain and Yule and Imbolc and Ostra and Beltane and Litha. And all of these are on the wheel of the year. And when you change seasons in this calendar, you turn it around. You switch it. So I just switched my calendar to, now it's at Lunasa. It's also called Lammas. So if you can't remember Lunasa, you can remember Lammas. So Lunasa is a spiritual mirror. It reflects on what's happening or what has happened since you've planted what it was that you planted earlier in the year. It's a time to be able to see what's happening, to see the fruit that is growing on the trees, the bounty of the consciousness that we have cultivated in our inner lives. So many of us earlier in the year, we did some goal setting, if you remember that. And now it's time to really look at where are we with those goals? Where are we with the intentions that we set? What have I planted? What am I reaping at this point based on what I planted earlier in the year? And how can I expand my awareness to divine abundance at this point in our experiences? So Lunasa then is what is considered a sacred pause, a time to really very intentional. It celebrates the idea that we are now in a time of harvest. We are looking at the ideas of community, of feasting, of first fruits, and all of those things that happen based on the labor of people in this world. So we see about a time where we have planted, and now it's time to start harvesting what it is that's coming up. During the time of Lunasa in the Celtic tradition, it was also a time for letting go. So not only are we honoring the first fruits of our harvest, but we're also at a point in our experience where we are letting go. We're offering a portion back of our harvest back to spirit in gratitude and in trust. So while this might seem far removed from our own personal spiritual lives, there's a wisdom that's here for us in unity that's very similar. We may not gather the wheat that you see behind me, or we don't stomp on grapes anymore, but we do harvest things in our lives on a daily basis, whether it's spiritual insight, personal growth, maybe it's forgiveness, or just clarity. Lunasa invites us into this consciousness of fruits of our labor. What is it that is growing and needs to be harvested at this point? And it's a time for giving thanks for the divine process that has unfolded. Because who doesn't get excited when you go out to your garden and you start to see the blossoms on the flowers and the seeds you planted, or the tomatoes on your tomato plant? Okay, sometimes we struggle on a daily basis, and we struggle to see what's actually coming to fruition because we only see the things that are dragging us down. But it's a time of year where we start to see, you know what? It wasn't wasted time. This was time that was, even though it was work and I put some labor and some effort into it, you know, I see the results now. And there's a purpose behind why we planted those seeds to begin with. Now, in unity, we know the law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So let's say that together. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So in the spring of our consciousness, we plant seeds. So we did that earlier in the year. We set intentions, we set our prayers, we did affirmations, and we set our desires for what it is we'd like to have in our lives, whether that's healing or renewal or forgiveness or whatever that is. Over time, with the spiritual practices that we've put in, all of the faith that we've held, we nurture the seeds that we've planted in, and we allowed that to sit in the soil of love. So Lunasa is a sacred reminder for us that we nourish the things that we grow, that we are in the process all the time of nourishing those things that are coming to our existence. Charles Fillmore said, abundance is not something we acquire, it is something we tune into. So the first harvest of Lunasa is not just about what we gather in our barns or in our bank accounts or in our gardens. It's about how we recognize and celebrate the spiritual plenty that we experience every single day, and it's available to us if we just tune into it. Lunasa teaches us that to stop striving. And that's something that in our modern society, it's really hard because we see all the things that we should be doing or should be getting, or I need this. It causes that Lunasa allows us a time to stop and to say, you know what? I am thankful for all the things I do have. The things that are coming into my existence, coming into my experience. And it's a time to recognize that divine substance that's always there with us. It's always present. It never leaves. And when we begin to perceive its existence in our experience, then we become an instrument and an expression for it in the world. We're not just innocent bystanders waiting for things to happen. We are in the co-creation process all of the time. So we are become that instrument, that tool for that divine expression. Gratitude is part of the harvest of our spiritual practice. At Lunasa, the ancient communities would give offerings of the first harvest to ensure that the rest of the season was going perfectly and the abundance was continuing to flow. So they understand gratitude as not bargaining, but as alignment with what's going on. So they recognize what was happening and we're thankful for it. And when we give thanks, we're not convincing Spirit to give us more. We're aligning our consciousness with the divine pattern of increase and prosperity that's already there. So our gratitude then is a form of seeing with our spiritual eyes. When we look at our lives with that gratitude, with that grateful heart, we uncover our blessings that were always there all the time. Those blessings that we may be overlooking on the daily basis because we're too busy or we're too stressed or we're too whatever. All we need to do to uncover those blessings is just to become still and become aware. So it may be hidden beneath our fear, our comparison with other people, but our blessings are always there. This time of Lunasa invites us to make spiritual offerings of praise, to look back over the past months and ask us, what spiritual truths am I harvesting right now? What relationships have deepened because of my efforts? What burdens have I laid down? Have I gotten rid of and said, that no longer serves me? What forgiveness have I allowed? And that's a big one because a lot of us have a hard time with forgiveness. So what has forgiveness brought to me, even if it's just a little bit? And when we gather our experiences together, we realize that we are in the midst of so much prosperity and so much abundance. And this time of year is not only about fruit. It's about the labor. It's about the time that we've spent. It's not just what we got out of what it is that we've planted. It's about the time and effort that we put into it. In the ancient traditions, it was a time of really being in touch with those who were reaping what we sowed. So those people that were out in the fields picking, those bakers that were in the bakeries making the bread, and also, making the cider from the apples, or on the old time, stomping on the grapes. It was about the physical work that was put in to give us this harvest that we are now experiencing. So we are honoring those times that we put in the effort. So it's not something that we're saying, okay, so we just did that and just forget about it. It is a moment of sacred gratitude for the effort that we put in. And so during that time, in the ancient Celts knew that abundance came from the effort that they put in, the rhythm of life that they were into, and trusting that Spirit had everything that they need and provided them with everything that they could want. In Unity, we know that spiritual growth requires its own form of labor. We are in practice all the time. It requires a metanoia. Metanoia means transformation of mind. And we till that soil of consciousness through our meditations and our prayers, our acts of forgiveness, and the right action that we put in. So like the outreach that we do and the helping hands that we offer. We weed out limiting beliefs and we water the truth that we hold within us. And sometimes we labor when we can't see the results. I mean, how many times have you set a goal and you're like, I'm just not seeing anything happen? That's all right. We sit with the uncertainty of not knowing when that's going to happen and that unsureness that we carry with us, that we may not see what we are expecting with the plants that we see, with the seeds we plant. But the truth is, divine order always comes into play. Even when we don't see immediate results. Spirit is still active in the background, in the invisible realms of who we are. Lunasa reminds us that there's no spiritual effort that is ever wasted. The abundance we experience today was shaped by the unseen forces of the work that we did yesterday. This experience today was shaped by the unseen work of yesterday. Yesterday's work, even though it's something that has gone past, we are now seeing and feeling and harvesting the benefits of the work that we put in. So today's efforts will continue to bless us. And in each season of the year, we will be continued to be blessed because of the work that we put in, the practice, the spiritual practice of meditation and prayer and all the things that we do to become one with Spirit. There is a poignant element to Lunasa that I want to talk about right now. The grain of the harvest must die to become bread. So I just want you to think about that. Even all of this beautiful planting that we've done. And when the fruits come, the plants go dormant again or sometimes die off. So the grain must be harvested and must die in order for us to have bread. It's cut down, it's ground into flour, it's baked, and it's transformed. Spiritually, this speaks to the sacrifices that we make on the path towards our growth. Sometimes it requires us to let go. What needs to be released in your life right now? So something else can be born. What can be transformed in your life? Perhaps you have a belief that you're living in scarcity. Maybe you feel like you need control over something that doesn't require your control. Maybe it's perfectionism. Or maybe it's fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what's happening, fear of not knowing where we're going to be tomorrow or next week. Unity doesn't teach sacrifice as suffering. It teaches it as release. So sacrifice isn't about giving up something that's going to allow us to be suffering. It is about releasing what no longer serves us. Catherine Ponder wrote, when you let go of something, you are making room for something better. Say that again. So let's say that together. When you let go of something, you are making room for something better. It invites us to see endings not as failures, but as part of the sacred cycle of life. So now is the time to ask yourself, what about me am I willing to transform? What no longer serves me as I move into a greater freedom and joy? Can I trust in this process of letting go and act in faith and know that I live in abundance. You see, this time of Lunasa, this time of harvest, is a time to realize that we have so much that it overflows, that we can give the extra, not because we feel that we have to, pay for what it is that we have received. It's not that. It's about the gratitude for what I have and the gratitude you want to share. It's a festival of community, Lunasa is. It's a time where the villagers would come together and share food and celebrate and prepare for the coming season, because the harvest season is really busy and very hard for some people, especially when you're working in the fields or in the gardens. The common symbol of Lunasa is the bread, the loaf of bread, and it's baked because of the first grains that were harvested, and they were offered in gratitude to God. So during that communion, and that's where communion comes from, when we break bread together and we share bread with each other, then we are all ingesting those first fruits, that abundance, that prosperity that's always with us. In unity, we understand that abundance is not as a possession. It's not something that we hold on to. Abundance is something that we help to circulate. Prosperity flows through us and as us, and it shows the world the good that is always there. We are not isolated beings, and when we're able to share that circulation with others, we become one mind and we realize that we are from one source. So think of the loaf of bread. One grain could never become bread, but many grains gathered and ground, transformed, work together, becomes nourishment for each and every one of us. This is how our spiritual community works. When we bring our individual consciousnesses together, when we support one another's growth, when we tithe our time and our talents and our treasures, we become that living loaf, that living communion, the bread of life that's in action. So Lunasa invites us to reflect on, where am I being called to share my abundance? How can I support another person's harvest? What community table do I bring my bread to? So these are all important things to ask, especially this time where we're starting to reap what it is that we've sown. What is it that we have that's overflowing? And even if it's not excessive, what is it that we have to share? What can we bring? There are so many different ways that you can start seeing how the harvest of this time of year is really going to benefit you. And there are spiritual practices that you can do, just like everything else, that you can do spiritual practices to be able to identify those harvests within your life. So you can keep a journal and keep a list of all the things that you have, all the fruits that you're experiencing right now, these blessings that are coming to you, and all the blessings that you have. You can make a list of that every day. List at least 3 to 5 that you're grateful for. You can make an offering in gratitude, whether it be to spirit. It can be a financial ties to your spiritual community or something that feeds you, a nonprofit. You can make a donation to someone in need, someone who you believe that could benefit from the prosperity that you experience. And do this with consciousness and abundance, not from lack or fear. Make sure that you're keeping in mind as you give this blessing to this individual or this experience, and do that intentionally. I remember Deepak Chopra would say, when you give with a blessing, whatever it is, whether you're writing a check, whether you're giving some food, or whether you're just being a helpful person, just do that with a blessing. Say a silent blessing. I bless you with love and intention, and I love you. Maybe that's all that's needed. You can bake or buy a loaf of bread. And I know some people are into that and they're doing that now. And when you do that, when you bake your loaf of bread, bless it and share it with someone else, whether it be with your family or as a symbol of spiritual nourishment among friends. You are sharing your abundance. And that's a beautiful thing. I love to bake bread. I don't get to do that very often, but I will do that soon. So I'm really excited. I do have some sourdough that needs to be made. You can do a walking meditation. So you can go outside. You can notice notice what's going on in the environment. Notice what's happening in nature. See the ripening fruit. See the vegetables coming up. See the grasses that are actually turning brown and drying of the leaves that are happening. Let the earth teach you about change, about cycles, about growth, and about all it has to offer to you, and to be grateful for that. So living from this harvesting consciousness, this idea that the energy of Lunasa is not about hoarding abundance, but living in that harvest consciousness. It's an awareness that the universe is always there. You're living in trust that the cycle of giving and receiving is eternally available to you. You're always growing, always reaping, and always becoming and evolving. We in Unity, we don't wait for good to come someday. We claim it right now. We give thanks right now. We live generously in the moment. And Lunasa, this time of year, offers us a sacred opportunity to pause, to see how far we've come, and to say thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for all that is and all that you will bring to me as we move through the cycle of the year. So let's walk into this week with this feeling of abundance and gratitude, to notice the beauty that is springing up all over, and that the harvest is here. And we are reaping the abundance of that, and it is good. And so in the Wiccan tradition, we would say, blessed be. And so it is. Thank you for listening to my talk about Lunasa today. I want to take you into meditation. That'll be about 10 minutes long. So get comfortable and let's get started. I suppose if I turn the... Begin in a seated position with your eyes closed or with a softened gaze. Allow your hands to rest gently in your lap or at your sides. Let's begin by bringing ourselves fully into this moment. Take a slow, easy breath in through your nose and let it go gently through your mouth. Again, breathe in and release. Feeling your shoulders soften, your belly relaxed, and your heart beginning to open. Allow this time to be a sacred pause, a time just for you to rest, to reflect, and to receive. Now imagine that you're standing in a golden field at the height of summer. The sun is warm on your face. The wind is soft but steady. And all around you, the earth is alive with abundance. You see tall grasses swaying, fruit growing on the vine, and baskets overflowing with the summer harvest. This is your field. This is the harvest of your inner life. This is the spiritual fruit of all you have prayed for, all you have hoped for, and worked for. The healing, the learning, the courage, and all the love. Allow yourself to take it in. You are safe here. You are provided for. And you are part of the natural rhythm of giving and receiving. Now slowly turn your attention to the seeds that you've planted earlier this year. Maybe you planted them in a prayer. Maybe it was a quiet moment of surrender. Maybe it was a time of grief or longing. You don't have to remember them all. Just trust that Spirit remembers. And ask yourself gently, what is ripening in me? What has come to fullness that I might not have noticed? Allow any images or words or feelings to rise. Maybe you experience inner peace, a shift in your relationships, a release of something that once felt heavy, or simply, it's a new way of being in the world. Allow the answers to come to you in their own time. And if nothing comes, that's okay too. Trust that your own harvest is unfolding in divine order. Now bring to mind something you're grateful for. Something simple, something authentically true. And allow your breath to deepen slightly as you begin to focus on that feeling of gratitude. Let it spread throughout your chest, down your arms, into your hands, allowing it to settle into your belly, down into your legs, and into your feet. And you're rooted in gratitude. You're grounded in this divine abundance. Everything you need is already within you. Everything you seek is already seeking you. Now ask yourself, is there anything I'm ready to release? Something that no longer serves me. A belief in lack, a fear that I might have outgrown, a story I no longer need to carry with me. There's no need to rush this process. Just notice what arises. And when you're ready, you can imagine offering it to Spirit. Imagine that you're placing it in a basket and setting it down in the field. You don't need to fix it or solve it. You just release it. Allow the earth to take it and let the light transform it. This too is part of the harvest. Now see yourself standing again in the golden field. The sun is beginning to soften as it moves across the sky. You're surrounded by light, by warmth, by fullness, and you see that you're not alone. All around you are others on their own journeys, also harvesting, also growing, and also learning to trust. And you feel a deep connection to them, to the earth, to spirit, to that sacred cycle of giving and receiving. Take a moment to silently speak a word of a blessing for yourself, for those you love, and for the entire world. Say to yourself, may I be nourished. May I live from wholeness. And may I walk in gratitude and grace on this earth. And as we prepare to return from this meditation, take a few deep and steady breaths, allowing yourself to feel the breath as life, as spirit, as abundance moving through you. Allow yourself to close with an affirmation, spoken out loud or silently to yourself. Say, I live in the rhythm of divine abundance. I give thanks for the harvest within and around me. And I trust the journey of growth, release, and renewal. Continuing to become more aware of your body, feeling it present in this moment, bringing your awareness back to the space that you're sitting in, maybe moving around a little bit, and when you're ready, you can allow your eyes to open and just take a moment with gratitude to appreciate the abundance and the grace that you carry with you each and every day. And so it is. Amen. And as we come out of meditation today, I would like the blessing to be read by my favorite poet, John O'Donohue. He has this beautiful lilting Irish accent, and he's going to read the blessing for us. So I'd like to share that with you as we end.
On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the grey window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colours, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the currach of thought, and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours, may the clarity of light be yours, may the fluency of the ocean be yours, may the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life.
I want to thank you for being here. I love you all. And now is our opportunity to get together and talk about what it was that you would like to.